The Cowboys versus the Giants. The Cowboys and the Giants was a very high anticipated game, as the Cowboys had shut out the Giants in week 1, 40-0. As expected, the Cowboys blew out the Giants. While the Giants got 2 touchdowns, the Cowboys had an amazing and outstanding performance. Truly a good team. The Texans versus the Bengals. The Bengals and the Texans both have great quarterbacks, Stroud and Joe Burrow. Both of these teams were actually very good, great performances. Although, as a shocker, the Texans came up with the win, 30-27. Stroud really is the best quarterback in the draft, as we've seen so far. Browns versus Ravens. This was probably the best game of week 10. See, both of these teams were back and forth, with the Ravens striking first after a deflection touchdown. But in the end, it was 31-30, where the Browns would kick a field goal to win the game 33-31. Broncos versus Bills. The Bills were definitely favored to win this game. I don't know by how many points, but it must have been a lot. The Broncos and the Bills were going at it the whole game. It wasn't the best performance, but it was certainly a performance. Late in the game, the Bills were up, but the Broncos kicked a field goal, yet they missed. It looked like the Bills had won, except for they had 12 people on the field, which was a penalty, and the Broncos got to kick another field goal, and which they made, which won them the game. Truly a sad game for the Bills. This game was the definition of a shootout. Never mind Baltimore Browns, this was the best game of week 10. Basically, if you have Amon-Ra St. Brown in fantasy, then basically you're gonna win your fantasy. Also, this game was very good, and it came down to the last very few points. Literally, this game was awesome. You should rewatch it if you can. And pretty much the Lions kick a field goal to win the game. Arizona Cardinals versus the Atlanta Falcons. These two, mediocre teams to say the least, faced off in Arizona. And the game was actually pretty exciting for these two teams. While the Falcons, I think, were favored to win, Kyler Murray had come back and scored a bunch. Very, very good performance, which the Arizona Cardinals could kick the field goal to win the game. Here's my recap for this game, Jaguars and 49ers. Basically, the 49ers just beat down on the Jaguars, and the Jaguars had no hope at all. Honestly, if you're a Jaguars fan, just honestly move to London and get ready for the makeover there. And yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say for you. If you're a Seahawks fan, you probably had 8 heart attacks during this game. Probably 17 now on the season. And if you're a Commanders fan, you're probably screaming at Twitter to change your stupid team's name. And so basically, all I gotta say is close game, good game, field goal at last second to win game. And if you're a Seattle fan, you're probably in the hospital. Before I start talking about this terrible Thursday night football game, I have to say one thing. Thank you for our not just joking, I don't got a sponsor. But this game was absolute trash. And also, why are you a Bears or Panthers fan? I mean, these teams are actually garbage, bro. I'm gonna be so for real. Also, the kickoff return was nice. Bryce Young is a bust. And Justin Fields is not the best quarterback on the team. So, that's tough. That's tough. Patriots versus Colts. This is an absolute dumpster fire of a game. It's really sad how we went from all-time classics of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning to Mac Jones and Gardner Minshew. It was so bad. Literally, you could have done anything else on Sunday morning besides watch this game. This was worse than the Panthers-Bears game. Oh my gosh, it's actually terrible. Just don't be a Patriots fan anymore. Just, if you're a bandwagon, just be a Chiefs fan, because this was horrendous. I swear the Saints do the same thing every single week. So, terrible first half. and the other team has a great first half. They're down by so much. They're making a comeback. All the Saints fans are hyped up, and then at the end, everything goes wrong, and they end up losing the game. Honestly, I'm sorry, Saints fans. I'm sorry for what's happened in the past, and the NFC Championship game, and the divisional game with the Vikings. I mean, I'm just sorry, guys, but that's just football. Packers versus Steelers. The Packers and the Steelers was a really good game if you enjoy turnovers. Both of them scored a touchdown in the first half. Then the Packers got 2 field goals as the Steelers got 10 points. Then in the third quarter, the Packers did the exact same and the Steelers got a field goal. The Steelers were still up 20-19, but kicked a field goal to make the final score 23-19. Tampa Bay versus Tennessee. This game was pretty much just a blowout for Tampa Bay. They totally destroyed the Titans 20-6. It was a really sad performance for the Titans, and Will Levis looked really good in his debut, but just doesn't look the same. Jets versus Raiders. This game was a terrible Sunday night football game. I mean, who decided that they wanted this? Also, the game was pretty quiet for most of it, but on the last amount of time, Zach Wilson throws a bomb, nobody's there. He has another time, Hail Mary throw. And I'm pretty sure it touched Garrett Wilson's hands, and he dropped it. Definitely a catchable Hail Mary. I don't think that was Zach Wilson's fault at all. Really sad game for the Jets.